Well, welcome to Stencils and Such. This is what we're going to do today. We're going to be using these 3 stencils, and we're going to go all the way from using them simply to doing a bunch of combinations. So all of that is going to be fun. Won't you please come play with us? Okay, as you can see, these stencils, there are 3 of them in the package. We're going to use all 3. This is by Tim Holtz, and these are called shifter stencils because you can shift them. And I'm push that aside for the moment. And as you can see, there are wider sections and fewer of them. This is 3 1/2 inch wide pieces. This is 4 3/8 inch. And 6 1/4 inch. So it's fun what you can do with them. It really helps to have some experimenting go on. So the first card that I showed you is what we're going to start with. And let me just set these aside. And we're going to be using, I'm going to bring in a craft mat here because we're going to do a little demo. And we are using Flit and Flutter pattern cardstock, and this is what it looks like. This is the 12 by 12, and the couple of things that let's see, that Lene did as she was doing this. So the card, or the cardstock that is on her card, is this piece. It's got dots on it. It's got some swirls down here. This is a 5 by 6.5 inch card base. So she simply placed this on her card, okay? And then she went about her stenciling. Now, the card's already done, so I'm just going to place this here, and I'm going to attach it down with some low-tack tape just to keep it in place so that I have control over it. We always do want control, don't we? Okay, so I'm just going to do it like this. And then the stencil that we're going to use is this one. Now these are 4 inches by 7 inches is the live area. So we do need to scoot it when we're going to cover a bigger area. Now in this case, I'm going to just place it right here. And I'm going to, again, use my tape to hold this down. And I'm not going to do the whole thing. I just want to give you a brief demo because we've got lots of techniques. Now you can do a couple of different things. Let me just take this off. You can have this edge equal to the edge of your paper. That's just perfectly fine. In fact, I think that's what we'll do right now. And if you don't want to have an uninked area at the bottom, you just want to make sure that the live area is showing, okay? So I'm going to tape that and tape that, just like that. Now, we are using Velvet Fawn. Velvet Fawn is a very soft, soft brown, one of my favorite colors. And Debbie likes to use the blending tool, and so we'll use this. And you're just going to go over the open areas, just like so. And you're not trying to make them dark. You just want to have this showing. And you can see that this is why we would want to have these low-tack tape in place, because then it's not going to be moving on us. And if you kind of like this light and dark area that I'm getting with this, simply just don't make it really heavy color. So you can just go up and down. And I'm going to stop doing that really soon now. It's just so easy to do. It's just not hard at all. Okay, so I'm going to lift this up and show it to you. And as I always suggest, don't take both of the low-tack tapes off, just take one so you can see what's going on. Okay, now what I would do after I finish that is I would simply move this over and repeat the process. Okay, and you can see this would be attached to the card and you would have that all done. Then she took this large cutout, and we have this with all of the hot off the press paper packs. There are large cutouts. This is exactly why, because you can place this in the center of your card. Let's see, like this. And then you can match up your stencil with what you have on the back of the card. And continue those lines just like this. And you want to get more of the low-tack tape, which I just happen to have right here. And let's see, just shift it a little bit. Jeanette's going, Okay, we'll put that down. And then you're just going to repeat the process, same color. And we just want those to line up because it's going to make a more finished look when your card is finished. A finished look when your card is finished. Got that? Okay. So I would have glued down that large cutout in place before I did this. And it feels to me that it's better to kind of scrub this in a little bit. That way it is going to stay. And let me lift. Okay, there you go. And that's what Lene has done on her card. Now, I have to stand corrected because I didn't notice before. She did not go over the art. She just went over the white area. So don't do what I did. Just only go over the art, the white area, okay? That will give you this look. And that way you're not covering up that pretty artwork, okay? And let's see, what did she add to this? Well, number one, she used a card that is a tent card. In fact, let me show it to you. It has a score line at the top, and it is 5 inches by 7 inches, and it comes with the envelopes. The Missing Our Time Together is out of the We're Together collection, and this is the brown one. And the gingham ribbon is just right there. So that's really a super easy way to begin using these stencils. Okay, let's see some more ideas. Now we're going to take this one step further and more than just doing a horizontal card. So this is 5 by 6.5 inches. And this comes from our Steampunk for Everyone collection. And in this case, this is one of the cutouts, but the paper that she's used is this one. And you'll notice that we often use pattern cardstock for our base to do stenciling upon. And I really believe that that's going to give you a richer look rather than just white cardstock. So it's your choice, but that's just something that we have found. Now, I didn't mention, but on these stencils, there is a number in the lower right-hand corner. This one with only the 3 openings is a 3L. The one with the 4 openings has a 3W. I don't know what those stand for, but I'm just telling you. And the one with the 6 has a 2S. And that is in the information that the designers have given you. When you go down to the bottom of the page from the webisode, you will see the cards. Click on them and you can see what they use, but you can also see some hints of their process for you. Okay. Now with this, she took this one and did the same thing, going right along the stencil. And you'll notice that I put it right along the edge of the paper, as well as leaving the open area. And she used, this is Lovely Lilac. Now that might be an interesting choice with this yellow, but when you look at the focal that she has, that starts to making sense, doesn't it? And she used a finger dauber, which is what this is. And by the way, we have a great deal on finger daubers, so you might want to check that out. And she's going to she just did right into the area. Now, I have a feeling that my ink pad is a little dry. Okay. It is the one that Debbie used, so that might explain it. So I'm just going to go a little bit here. I'm not going to try. And it's going to be a light color, and that's exactly what she did on hers. So you can see it's just going to kind of a shadow. Now you're going to do that across the whole one. So you're going to go there, and then you're going to do it another time. That's going to work perfectly. But then she did something else. She took the one that is the 2, okay? And she went in between these stencils. So I'm going to start at the edge of the card, and I only want the live area to be working. So I'm going to see how I did that. Just place the stencil so that the opening areas are covering the card. And she used something else. This is a newer product for us. It is a black texture paste. It comes from a Hunky Dory. And going to use that, and she recommended using a sponge, and the reason why, because she wanted it to look textured. So let me open this up and peel this back. Okay, so when it is, you can see how shiny it is. So we're just going to put a little bit on and go into the areas there. Okay, so this is the smaller piece, and I'm pouncing this because we want some texture showing when this dries. Okay, now the only trick is you want to make sure that you're getting into only the areas that you want. And okay, so have that staying down. It probably would be good if you're doing this is that you have a few more pieces of the low tack tape. Okay, I'm going to stop here, and I just want to make sure that I've got a little bit that it's going to be looking textury. Okay, so I can see it from my angle down here, so I don't want it to go flat. Okay, that's enough. I'm going to push this down, and I'm going to seal it because you don't want it sitting and drying out. It would take longer to dry out than that. I'm going to lift this up and see what we have. Okay, now let me pop this into my tub of water and get that fixed. And I'm going to hold this up because I don't know that you can see the texture that's going on. Okay, let's get in close. There you go. I think you can see it better now. Now it is shiny and it will dry, but you can see that the texture's there. And let me show you the finished one. Nice and close. Okay, so you can see how it looks textured-y. And that's a nice thing that you can get with a paste that you cannot get with an ink pad. But it's nice to have that combination and to start mixing the stencils. Now I'm going to take this and set it aside so it can dry. And like I said, this is a one of the large cutouts, and that's foam taped on place. It's already matted for you, so you don't have to mat it. And the Happy Birthday is a cutout that's also foam taped in place. And that just works very nicely. Okay, so that's step number 2. Something I forgot to tell you. Now you saw that with the black texture paste, but this is done just with an ink pad. So you can see the difference of what that texture paste can do. It's just deeper. And of course you have the texture that you're not going to get with an ink pad. So that's nice just to see the difference. Okay, now we're moving on, and we're going to move on to this one. And look at that high shine. So what Debbie used here is X-ray flowers, and that's what she's using for her pattern. And then she also used X-ray solid, and that's what she used for her matting. Now this card is a gatefold card. So what you're going to want to do is to lay your card out flat, and there's the center score, and then score in 2.5 inches from each side. Score it and then fold it like this, okay? Now this is the pattern cardstock that she used out of the X-ray flowers. You can see it has a light texture looking, and it is a yellow. But to get that high shine, let me just get this down with a little bit of tape. And she used the stencil that has 4 openings. It's a 3M, and she placed it at an angle. And that's interesting because I'm not sure we would have thought about that. So I'm going to kind of duplicate what she did very briefly. So I'm going to place this, and I'm only going to be able to do a couple of these, but that's all I want to do is a demonstration. This is using the stencil butter. We love the stencil butter. This is tangerine, and you apply this with a palette knife. So it is like frosting. It really is. It's just lovely. And I did tell you it was the 3M one, the 4 pieces. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm covering everything. So we're using one piece. Now this piece would cover that card. Hey, stop wiggling. Stay. Okay. And I'm just going to put it into the open areas. And, there's no trick to this. In fact, it's absolutely astounding how little you actually need. Now, you saw how much I scooped out. And I'm just doing these couple. You do want to make sure that when you're going across this with your palette knife that you can hear the scraping, because there's no need to have extra of the stencil butter. And the stencil butter, as you saw in the finished example, is going to be shiny, which is very nice. And okay, now I have a little bit, just a tad more right there. And I'm going to really kind of wipe most of that off. There we go. Turn any extra into the container, and do be sure to put the lid on the container. Okay, so now I'm going to show you. Okay, look at that. Now I'm going to pop this into my water bath over here. All that is just a plastic container with water in it. And you can see that it's shiny now. And here it is when it's dry. It's just almost ever so much more shiny. So what she did, I'm going to put that into the bath too, is she let that dry and then cut this in half and matted it on the cardstock and for both of her gates. Now, the other thing that she used, that I should have here somewhere, is our fern dazzles. Look at that. And that's what she has here. So coming down from the upper left and going up from the lower right. Now, the missing you and the circle, those are cutouts from the X-ray flowers. So how pretty is that? Super easy, but nice to have the idea of going on the angle. Now, you could also use the other stencil and bring in some smaller lines in between if you wanted to. Lots of options, people. Okay, there's one more for you. I'll be right back. Oh, wait, don't go. So this is another example that she did. So thank you, Debbie. So she used tiger orange. You can see it on this side in the wider. And she also used toasted oat, and that's the yellow. And she's done this on white cardstock. And then she brought in the stencil butter on top. So just gives you some idea of playing with some other colors. She also went horizontally as well as vertically. Here, she went diagonally. Lots of choices, folks, but it's nice to see some other options, isn't it? Okay, now I'll be right back. Okay, now we're ready for some plaids. We've done enough with stripes, and so Lene has shown us this. And to get this, she started with her card, 5 by 6.5, and used at the lake. And this has lots of pretty things in it. In fact, this is the paper that she used. She covered her front of her card with this. And then she also used a piece of this to do this technique. So let me show you how that works. So she used the one stencil that's got 2S that has the 6 pieces, and she placed that and used the cocoa brown ink with the tool applicator to go down this, just to make those brown. Let me scoot this over so I can show you the finished card along the same line. Okay, so I'm going to do that with the brown cocoa and the cocoa bean, and goes just straight down, just like we did in the beginning, okay? Then she's going to do that through her whole piece. Then she came back with the wider one. This is the 3L, and placed it so. Now obviously this is gone because you already have the brown lines. And then she used holly green, and that has created those wider pieces. Neat. So now she's got the brown and the green, but you notice those thin lines? Well, she went back with this one and kind of offset it a little bit and used the edge as a straight line, and she used the gold pen. This is a fine tip pen, and just went right along the edge. Now, I don't have this attached down with stencil tape, so that may have been a poor thing for me to do, but I just want to show you. In fact, I'll do two of them. Just did it on one side, on the right side, and there are the gold lines. So that's what she has used here. Now, you could also use our thin line straight dazzles. That could go there too. So you've got choices. Now, as you can see, she used the oval cutting dies. There they are. And die cut this piece, and then die cut a metallic gold out of the scalloped, and use those together. Breathe in the Outdoors, that is from that same At the Lake paper pack, so that just goes right on top. She did put a little bit of the cocoa bean around the outside edge of that green card, so that worked very nicely. Now, doing that kind of plaid, so easy. It is not difficult, especially when you have the technique kind of shown to you and demonstrated right here. So that's really nice. So you can take these stencils. In fact, let me just show them to you again because I have a nice surprise for you. So we have the 3, the 1/2 inch, the 4, and the, okay, all of that. Now, these have a retail of $25.99, but not for you. Certainly not for you. For you, my friend, they're $15, just like we promised. And you get 3 of the stencils, and you can just see there are just so many things that you can do. Oh, wait a minute, I have a couple more things. Speaking of plaids, look at what Debbie has done. Now, this is using 3 colors of the ink pads: Air Force blue, Prussian blue, electric blue on white cardstock. Now, this is using all that same stencil. It's this stencil, and you can see how she's done the light color, then the medium color going back and forth horizontally, and then the darker up and down. That's the electric blue. Isn't that gorgeous? And then she also did, the woman was on a mission. She used the lipstick and blush. So you've got a light and a dark, and that's what she did on this side. There's lipstick and blush. And then she also used a blue marker to go into the darker pink, which is the lipstick. So the blush was done with the wider one going this way, and then she turned and had them go vertically and used the smaller one with lipstick, and then took a blue pen, and you want to use the edge of the stencil because that's just going to be a lot easier. In fact, you can see, just go right along the edge of it, because that way it's going to make it straight and you won't have to struggle with a ruler or something, okay? So more ideas, more plaids, more colors, more stuff you can do. Okay, and that's what we want. We want to have a lot of variety with our stencils, okay? So this is what we have, and there is a money saver. It's over on the right-hand side of your screen. We also have a subscription to this, and this is what it looks like for this time. So this is for July. We've got the 3 stencils here. You will get at least 2 stencils every month, although of course this month you get 3. We have had months where you got 5, and you get a free goodie. Now this time you are going to get a roll of the low-tack tape. So that's always handy with stencils. So that is the free gift for subscribers. And if you are interested in subscribing, it's $15 a month, and you go over on the right-hand side of your screen, and that's where the money saver is too. And as I said, the designers have down below, you can see all of the cards. Just tap on them. You'll see what the designers used and also any little tips they have. So that will be helpful. Okay, Lene and Debbie, great job as always. And thank you for making it so easy to kind of do the progression from just straight up and down over to plaids. That looks so great and so easy to do, along with these stencils. Okay, I do want to thank you for joining us. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe, but head on over to Paper Wishes. That's the only place you're going to find these stencils at this price, plus the only place you're going to get all these ideas, and you do have the option of joining the subscription. So I want to thank you, and thank you for being such a wonderful part of paperwishes.com. Okay, we'll see you again. Bye-bye.